This conference will now be recorded.
Hello students, good evening. Is it audible? And is my screen is visible? Yes. Gulab Shahanaz. Oh, nice name. Right. Okay, let me start the today's session. Yesterday we have discussed about aggregate functions. And today I'm going to continue my session with the next topic called group by and having class. Aggregate functions are also called group functions. Yesterday we have discussed. Now I'm going to continue my session with one minute. Hello. Sir, good evening, sir. చెప్పండి. Sir, చెప్పండి. ఈ రోజు కుదరదు సార్. Here today we are going to continue with the next topic, that is group by and having class. Group by and having class. Here we will understand what is group by and having class. And the group by is used to, here I am writing the sentences for your notes. Group by is used to compute aggregate functions on the group of rows. On the group of rows. On the group of rows, if I wanted to compute aggregate functions, we have to use group by class. And we have another one we call having class. Having is used to select a group. Select the group. For the group selection, we have to use having class. And for computing aggregate functions, we will be using group by class. Okay. Now, what exactly this? First, I will explain you by writing it so that you can easily understand. Once you understand, I will show you the same by executing the query in Oracle. Fine. Now, look at. Suppose I do have a table called employee with some attributes: employee number, employee name, and employee department, assuming number, name, and department. Say 1A CS department, 2B CS department, 3C say IT department, 4D IT department, 5E let us say mechanical department, assuming this. Suppose I have a question. Find number of employees. Find number of employees in each department. Find the number of employees in each department. In every department, how many employees are there? That is to be find. Find how many employees are working in every department. So here you just observe a point. Find number of employees. To find number of employees, we have to use a count function. So count will be used to find the how many number in each department. Each department means this each is sounding to use a group by class. It is sounding to use group by class. Means it is required to divide these employee records according to the departments. Means all employees with same department will be forming one group, like CS in one group, IT in one group, mechanical is in one group. So totally 3 groups. It requires to divide the rows into groups on each department. Means in each group, that each is sounding to make use of group by class. On each group, we have to find the number of employees. Means we have to find the count star. Now look at what is a query. So we have to select what is a department and how many employees are there in the department. That is, we can specify using count star. It is from which table? It is from employee table. What we have to do, we have to group that employee records according to their department. So we have to use group by department. And do remember, always query execution starts with from class. First it will consider all these 6 rows. Then it will go to the group by class so that it divide the rows into 3 groups. Then in the third step, it is going to find the output, that is department and count star. So what output it is going to display? Department comma count star for each group. Department comma count star for each group. For the first group, department CS, count 2. Second group, department IT, count 2. Third group, department mechanical, count 1. Here you observe one point. How many groups we have? 3 groups. How many rows in the output? 3 rows. So here I will give a note point that the number of rows in the output, the number of rows in the output is equal to how many groups? Is equals to number of groups. It is equals to number of groups. The number of rows in the output is equals to number of groups, okay. Here we do have a 3 groups. So how many rows in the output? 3 rows. So it means it is going to return 1 row for each group. It is going to return output 1 row for each group. For every group, it is going to return 1 row. So this is how query is going to be executed. First, it takes all table of records, then divide the table of records into groups. Then on each group, it is going to find the output. So here it is a point that the number of rows in the output is equals to number of groups. Here we have 3 groups, so 3 rows in the output. Clear? Right. Here I will give you one more question. Here I am giving you one more question. Find the number of employees in each department if there are at least 2 employees. If there are at least 2 employees. If this is a question, find the number of employees in each department if there are at least 2 employees. If there are at least 2 employees, it requires to find how many employees in every department. So here also you observe this question is also very similar to the question what I have written previously, but in addition to that, it is having a condition if. So after each, generally I told you do remember the wordings, and according to the word each, we can say it is required to use a group by class. And after each, if we have an if, means we have to select a group based on some conditions. That after each if is going to specify about making use of the having class, and this each will make use of group by class, and this number of employees, it is making use of count star. So I understood first what is required for answering this question. So what I understood, it requires to write a query using group by having count. So what is required to select? It is required to select the number of employees in each department. So we have to write select department comma count star. It is from which table? It is from employee table, and it requires to divide the rows into groups according to their department, and we have to select a group that is having class. When we have to select a group, if there are at least 2 employees, so means in each group it requires to find what is a count. If this count is at least 2, means greater than or equal to 2. Now look at this query and this table of data, and so that you can find what output is possible. Now always query execution starts with from class. This is the first step. So it is going to consider all the rows. Then second step is group by class. It is dividing the rows into groups. Here we have 3 groups. And the third point, next after group by, we require to have an having class, because having is there. What having will do, having is for the group selection. It requires to select a group based on the group condition. So means for each group it is going to find what is a count. Here it is a 2, count is 2, and condition is 2 greater than or equal to true, correct. Here count is 2 greater than or equal to true. Here count is 1 greater than or equal to 2 is false, right. So how many groups are selected? 2 groups. Because 2 groups are selected, how many rows you can see in the output? 2 rows in the output, because 2 groups are selected. What is the first group? CS, count is 2. Second group IT, count is 2. Here we have 2 groups selected, so 2 rows in the output. That's it. So here in the previous note, the number of rows in the output is equals to number of groups selected. Previously, no special group is selected, all groups are selected. Here it is selected only 2 groups, because in the previous we have all 3 groups are selected, then 3 rows in the output. In this we have only 2 groups, so only 2 rows in the output. This point you observe it. Okay. So how query is executed? First table, then divide the table into groups, then third select a group, then finally find the output for each group. Clear? This is about group by and having class. And generally in the interviews, they may ask you one important question. What is the difference between where and having class? What is the difference between where and having class? The first difference is where is used for row selection, correct? Where is used for row selection. What for having? Having is used for group selection. Having is used for group selection. Where is used for row selection. Second, and generally here in the having we have written a count star. What is count star? Aggregate function. But aggregate functions are not allowed in the where class, but which are allowed in the having class. Aggregate functions are not allowed in the where class, but allowed in the having class, because having is a group function, and aggregate functions also group functions. So what we can write, aggregate functions cannot be used in where class, but can be used in having class. Can be used in having class. These are the 2 major differences, and these are the only 2 differences so far we have. So far, and these 2 differences are important in the context of placement interviews. In the placement interviews, so many students told me that this question was asked for them. What is the difference between where and having? So this is a question, is important. Okay. So that is a concept of group by and having. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. If no doubt, I will show the execution of these queries only. Any doubts? Hello. Any doubts? Is it audible? Hello. Any problem? No, no. Okay, fine. No, because you people are not responded. At least no doubt, sir. You can tell me because you people are not responded. I got a doubt that is it audible or not. Okay. Chalo, if we'll continue quickly with execution part. Here, I do have an employee table. Here in this employee table, we do have Priya, Narendra, Karthik, Teja, Akhil. And Teja and Akhil are of CSC department. Priya is of ECE department. And for Narendra, department is not there. So in order to show you the group by query, so just I wanted to update the records of Narendra and Karthik departments, okay, to some department like IT or mechanical, something. So update, which table, how to update this records? Update table name employee, update employee, and set, we have to set the employee department, set department equal to CSC, set department equal to CSC, where update employees set department equal to CSC, where e number equal to 2 and 3, right? So because I wanted to check with more than one value, what I can write is e number in, I write 2 comma 3, where e number in 2 comma 3. Just I wanted to update the two records. Department, okay, department it is MENT. So two rows are updated. Now just I wanted to display this record, display this table. It is also CSC updated. Okay, just I wanted to update it to some other department, IT. Two rows are updated. Now here you see Priya is ECE, Narendra and Karthik is IT, and Teja and Akhil are CSC. Suppose I have a question. Just now I shown you the question similar to this. Find the number of employees in each department. So what it requires to select all the employee records and divide that employee records into groups according to their department, then find the count for each department. Look at that. How I do this here. I requires to select name of the department and count star. That count is going to find how many were there. Count star. This count star you can display with some name. Suppose if you don't, as yesterday I shown you, you can have an aliases for columns. Instead of displaying the output column name is count star, just I wanted to display some name as count star as number of employees, number of some name I am putting, number of EMPs. It is from which table? It is from employee table. Employee table. What we have to do? We have to find this department and count from employee table for each department. Now, for each department means we have to group. We have to group by department. We have to group according to their departments. Now just select this query and click on run, so that what output you are going to expect: EC department 1 employee and IT department 2 employees, CSC departments 2 employees should be in the output. Look at, see, I'm getting EC department 1, CSC department 2, IT department 2 employees in the output. Clear? So what the query has done, it is selected the table and divided the table into rows, into groups, and each group, for each group it is finding the output. And what is the query I have explained? Find number of employees in each department if there are at least 2 employees. If there are at least 2 employees, then what you can do is you have to write a query. You have to just add a condition. What condition you have to add? Having class. Means if I want to select a groups, we have to use having class. What for having class? Having is for the group selection. Now how it is going to select a group? Having, in each group it has to find the count. So here already given a count in the previous query. So if I wanted number of employees in each department should be minimum 2, means EC1 should not appear, CSC2 and IT2 should appear. So this count star should be greater than or equal to 2. Now I have written a query where that query is finding the department and count star. It is from employee table and grouping that employee records according to the department, and a particular group is selected based on the number of employees in it. If the number of employees in it is minimum 2, it is going to be selected. So according to that, EC1 should not be displayed, only CSC2, IT2 should be displayed. Just click on run, check it out. Here I am getting the required output. So this is how queries are going to be executed using group by and having class. I hope every one of you understood what is a group by class and having class. Group by, again I'm repeating, group by is for dividing the rows into groups so that on each group it can possible to compute and aggregate functions. What for having class? Having is to write conditions on the groups, means based on some conditions we can select a groups. And one important point I told, number of rows in the final output should be equals to number of groups that are going to be selected. Okay, fine. That's about the concept of group by and having. Any doubt with this? If you don't have any doubt, chalo, I'm going to discuss some of the Infosys InfoTQ questions. Okay, no doubt. Thank you. Thank you, Vamshi. Here, have a look of this question and please solve this question. Take 2 minutes of time. Please try to solve the question. Yeah, any answers? Answer is 3. Option C. Okay, Vamshi, very good. Third option. Any other answers? So what about others? Okay, only Vamshi given answers. What about others? Still finding any difficulty? Okay, just check it out. Just verify how I am solving this question. What is the query? Select project department, comma, round off average of EMP salary. What is a round function? So it rounds to the nearest value. Average of EMP salary as average salary, sum of bonus as total bonus. So what could be the final output? Final output should be project department, comma, round off average of EMP salary as AVG salary, and sum of bonus as total bonus. Okay, these are the three attributes. From EMP details, so means from this table, group by project department, because it's a grouping query, group by project department. See here, project department is this attribute. Here it is a finance, and here is one finance. This two is forming one group. And here we have a telecom department, telecom department, telecom department. These three is forming the second group, assuming. And we do have engineering departments, engineering, engineering, engineering. I will be calling this is a third group. Okay, there are totally three groups. And here having average of EMP salary, having is for group selection, means for each group it is going to find the average EMP salary. Average EMP salary. Now look at for the first department, finance. What is the EMP salary? 27,000, 27,000 by 2. If I take 27,000, 27,000 by 2 means 27,000. Now this group is satisfying the condition average EMP salary greater than 20,000, and sum of the bonus should be greater than 500. Now what is the bonus for this group? 400 and null. Null is ignored. So what is the sum of bonus now? 400, which is greater than 500, wrong. So that first group not going to be selected. Then go ahead with the second group. So two conditions. Average EMP salary should be greater than 20,000. Sum of the bonus should be greater than 5,000. So greater than 500. Now what is the sum of salaries? Like average of salary 20,000, 25,000, 20,000. 20, 25, 20. That is 65,000. That is 65,000 by 3. 65,000 by 3 means it is 21,000 something. 21,000 something means which is greater than 20,000. Correct. Group is selected. And second condition, sum of bonus should be greater than 500. What is the bonus is 300. Null is going to be ignored, and 300. So what is sum? 600. Greater than 500, true. So second group is selected. Because second group is selected, for the second group it is required to find what is a project department. That project department is telecom. And what is the average salary for the telecom? Average salary 20,000, 25,000, 20,000, 65,000 by 3. That is 21,666 point something. So 666.66. So it is rounded to 667 because we have a round value. And total bonus is 300 plus 300, 600. Null is ignored. Fine. This is one output. And finally, third group. What is the total salary for third group? 40,000, 50,000, and 30,000. 40, 50, 90 plus 30, 120. 120 by 3, 40,000. First condition is true. What is the second condition? Sum of the bonus should be greater than 500. Now what is a bonus? 600 plus 700, 1300, and null is ignored. So greater than 500, true. Now it is going, because this is true, this group is also going to be selected. That group is ENG group. ENG. Now what is average salary? 40,000. And what is the total bonus? 1300. Right? This is the final output of the query. Now what is the question? When the above query is executed, which of the following will appear as part of the output? It is asking as part of the output. Now finance anyhow not there, wrong. And here also finance is there, it is also wrong. Here also finance is there, it is also wrong. What is left? Only this. This is correct because question is about part of the output. ENG is there in the output. This option C is part of this output. Okay, so answer for this question is option C, third option. Have you understood or still have any doubt? Is it understood? If understood, happy. Chilo. Any doubt? Okay, no doubt. Chalo, if no doubt, please try one more question. So third question is on join. Joins we'll discuss. This is also on joins. Okay, those are the questions on joins. Next, I will discuss joins. Then we'll discuss these questions. Joins along with group by and having aggregate functions. See, when I'm discussing concepts by concepts, so previous concepts I'm using in the next classes, like in the present class. So yesterday I have discussed aggregate functions along with group by. Next, I'm going to discuss about joins along with group by. Likewise, I'm going to discuss. Okay. Right. Okay, I hope you understood what is the concept of group by and having. Now I'm going to discuss the concept of joins. Now first we'll understand what is joins. First I will explain you here by writing it so that you can easily understand. Next I'm going to discuss the concept of joins. What is join? In the yesterday also I have discussed a few things about a joins. Join, it is used to combine the related tuples of two relations into a single tuple. It is used to combine the related tuples of two relations into a single tuple. Means you just combine the related tuples of more than one table into single table. That is called a join operation. Okay. Now, how to perform a join? Say join, it is to perform between two tables because join is a binary operation. First, we'll understand a small example. Suppose I do have a table called student, or else I will take best example employee and works. I do have one table called employee. Okay, employee having some attributes: employee number, employee name, employee number 1, say Ajay, 2 Kiran, 3 Sita. Okay, and here I do have one more table, employee works on. Here employee works on. Here department number, or else instead of works on, employee manages. If I take instead of works on, I will take a table name called managers, department number and department name, and employee number who is managing the department. Department number 9 says CS department, managed by employee number 3, And department number 10, IT, it is also managed by employee number 3. Department number 11, department name EC, and managed by employee 1, and so on. Now here you can see who is managing department number 9, CS department, managed by 3, and who is 3. Here I can see 3 is Sita, means E number is a foreign key, there it is a primary key. Who is managing IT department? IT department is managed by Sita. Who is managing EC department 1? It is managed by Ajay. Suppose if I have a query, find name of the department. Find name of the department managed by employee Sita. Find name of the departments managed by employee Sita. If this is a question, find name of the departments managed by employee Sita. It is a question. Sita is managing which departments is a question. See, look at, first we should understand the query. What this query requires? It requires name of the departments. Name of the departments is in the managers table. Managed by employee Sita. Employee Sita. Sita is there in the employee table. So means here, to process this query, it requires to have 2 tables. So department name is required from the managers table. Employee Sita is there in the employee table. Because it requires to have more than 1 table, what is required is it requires to write more than 1 table in the from class. From employee, comma, managers. If you write more than 1 table in the from class, what it will do is it is going to perform the Cartesian product between 2 tables. Now, what is the meaning of Cartesian product or cross product? What is the meaning of Cartesian product or cross product? So here we do have a 3 records. The Cartesian product is going to perform the 3 into 3 combinations. So 9 combinations means one Ajay has to be verified with department number 9, 10, 11 records also. Means 3 into 3 combinations are possible. That is what called Cartesian product. Among all the Cartesian product of tuples, it is going to be satisfied. It is going to satisfy only some combinations are correct. So that which combinations are correct? One is going to match with this record. Why? Because this department number is managed by employee. This department is managed by employee 1. And 2 does not have any matches, and 3 is matching with this record as well as this record. So because employee 3 Sita is managing CS and IT departments. How can I see these 2 tables are joining? The 2 tables are joining with respect to their employee numbers. Here you can observe, here employee number, here employee number. Because based on employee number, it is going to be combining. It is going to match it. So means here we have to map these 2 tables with respect to some condition. That condition is called join condition. That condition we write here, where what is the condition? E number in the employee should be same as E number in the managers. So here we write a condition E number equal to E number. If I write E number equal to E number, it is an ambiguity to the compiler. That is a query processor. That both E numbers are belonging to the same table or different table, it cannot make any differentiation. That is called a naming conflict possible. To avoid the naming conflict, it requires to use a table name before the attribute name. So how we can write where employee dot E number equal to managers dot E number. This is to avoid the naming conflicts, so that 1 equal to 1 matches, remaining or not matches, 3 equal to 3, 3 equal to 3 matches. And among these three, we require to have those departments that are managed by employee Sita. So means we have to check this condition also. Means e-name of the employee should be equal to Sita. If e-name of the employee is equals to Sita, this is going to be rejected and these two are going to be selected. Of the selected records, it requires to select the final output. That final output is department names. Department names, D name. So what final output it is going to give you? It is going to give you the final output, D name, for the two selected records, that is CS and IT in the final output. This is one query. This is one query. The same thing you can also write in different way. How will you write? Select, listen to me, the differences. D name, it is from two tables, employee and managers. So here I'll be using aliases to the tables also. Like we used aliases for the attributes, we can use aliases for the tables also. So employee E is alias for employee table, comma, managers M. M is an alias for managers, where E dot E number equal to M dot E number and E dot E name equal to Sita. This is possible. Here also you can write D name is there in the managers, so you can write M dot D name. So here also it is going to execute in the same way. It is going to perform a Cartesian product of two tables, employee and managers, and select the tuples based on the join condition, E number equal to E number and E name equal to Sita. Of the selected records, it is going to select the D name. So here you observe the point, a process of evaluating the query is same. The execution process of evaluation of the query is same. It is only differing with respect to the way you are representing the query. Rest everything is same. And another way of representation, look at one more also there. Here we will be using the similar query. Select M dot D name. And moreover, the aliases are required especially for attributes with common name. But if different attributes are there, aliases are not mandatory. Means here D name among employee and managers is only one D name is there. Then in such cases, specifying M is optional here. Specifying M is optional. But here you look, E number, E numbers, these are the common attributes. In such cases, specifying aliases is mandatory. So specifying aliases is mandatory if the common attribute names are there. Otherwise, aliases, even though you define aliases, you need not to use alias names. That point you remember. So means here I need to select only D name, select D name. If you wanted, you can select alias names also. Select D name. It is from employee table, employee E. We have a keyword called join. This join is also called inner join. Generally, your SQL uses join, your SQL. Here we'll be using Oracle now. Oracle uses join and MySQL uses inner join, but both are same meaning. It is a keyword called inner join. Inner join with which table? Managers M. On, here we have to use on. From employee inner join managers on, what is the condition? E dot E number equal to M dot E number, M dot E number. Okay, here I will write. It is joined on E dot E number equal to M dot E number, where we have one more condition where ename equaled Sita. So here also the process is same. The first query, second query, third query. Here also the process is same and going to give you the same output. But the way you are representing the query is different. And one more also I will show you. R. One more. Here you observe these two tables, employee and managers, is joined based on some common attribute, E number. Because attribute name is common, when attribute names are common and you want to write a join condition, equality join condition on common attributes. In such cases, we have to use a keyword called natural join. Let me write. Same thing I'm writing. Select department name, D name. It is from which tables? From employee. It is to join with managers. Now employee and managers is going to be joined based on the common attribute E number. Because it is to be joined based on the common attribute E number, then we have to use a keyword called natural join with managers. If I write a natural join, if I write a keyword natural join between employee and managers is having common attribute. Now, because I wrote natural join condition is by default on common attribute. It means previously I have written employee dot E number equal to managers dot E number or E dot E number equal to managers dot M dot E number. Such things you need not to write. That join condition you should not write. Because whenever I use a natural join condition is by default. Keep in mind, join condition is by default. Because join condition is by default, you shouldn't write. It doesn't require to write a join condition. Where what is the selection condition? Ename should be Sita. Ename equal to Sita. Same thing. In all the four queries, here this is the first one I wrote, this is second, this is third, this is a fourth. In all the four queries, execution of the query is same. Only it is differing with respect to the way you are representing the query. Rest all are same. Coming to the evaluation, performance, everything is same. Only difference is with respect to the way you are expressing the query. These are the different options are there in the query languages. In different options, we can use different ways of writing the queries. And again, keep in mind, in Oracle, we have a keyword called join. In Oracle, we have a keyword called join. So we use a join on query. This join on is there in Oracle only. But in MySQL, we have an inner join on. Here I use the inner join on. This facility is there in MySQL. So don't worry whether it is MySQL question or Oracle question. That's why wherever it is difference is there between Oracle and MySQL, I'm explaining you the differences. So that differences are helpful for you while answering the question. Sometimes they are giving questions on based on Oracle, sometimes on MySQL. But don't worry, if you know the differences, it is not a much difficult thing. Okay, fine. Here, what we can write? We can write the query by joining two tables. Here we can use the convention employee table name dot attribute names to avoid the naming conflicts. So if I feel writing this condition is like big hectic because before every attribute, I will be using a table name. So instead of that, what I have used aliases. If I use aliases, writing become very simple. And here in this second query, I wrote join condition. This is E number equal to E number and E name equal to Sita. Both I have written on the var class. To make it more clear, we can use employee join managers on this condition, right? So that it looks very clear that the two tables employee and managers is joining based on that condition and where employee name is Sita. Instead of writing that common condition, means because in all these cases you can see the join is based on the common attributes. When join is based on the equality condition on common attribute, instead of using that all of this, to make query more simple to write, we can use a natural join keyword. So if I use a natural join keyword, the join condition is by default equality on common attributes, so directly you can ignore it. You can ignore of writing the conditions. And keep in mind, join on is there in Oracle, inner join on is there in MySQL. In the MySQL, it is specified as inner join. In Oracle, it is called join simply. The differences you can observe. Is it understood? Is it clear? The join operations? Are any doubts? Is it clear or having any doubts? Any doubts? Clear. Nagarthik. Okay, done. Sure. At least one query we will solve today. Here I do have an employee table. Look at, I do have an employee table. Sure. Okay, employee table already there. Just I wanted to create one table called managers. Create table managers. And here I will be using one attribute called d number, say integer, and I can call this d number is a primary key. D number is a primary key. And I will take one more attribute called d name. And d name I can say care of 10. And one more attribute I will take e number. This e number also I will take integer. And here I should say this e number integer is a foreign key that refers to e number in the employee table. So we have to define a foreign key condition. How do you define a foreign key condition? You write in this way: foreign key of e number. This foreign key of e number in that managers table, e number is a foreign key. This is going to references the employee tables e number. We can write references employee of e number. Close. So that the query I have written it to create a table managers that is having three attributes: d number, d name, and e number is a foreign key that is referring to the employee number. Click on run. Now one table is created. That table is managers. Once table is created, I recommend you please insert some records into it. Insert some record into it. How to insert some records? Insert into managers. The values you have to insert. Some department number 13. Name of the department is CSE. Okay, or else some name I will put it. Research department. And it is managed by employee number 6. Just insert this record. It's missing select a keyword. Insert into managers, values, right? Values. One row is inserted. And insert one more record. Say I'm calling department number 16. And name of the department is science. And it is managed by employee number 9, assuming. Click run. And similarly, you can mention some records. Say department number 21, say management department, and suppose it is not managed by any employees, then I can put it as a null. Right now, if you wanted to display the managers table, how to display the managers table? Select star from managers. Right, managers is having research, science, and management department. Suppose if I have a question, find name of the departments managed by some employee. Let us say here, just let me see this table. See, I wanted to find name of the departments managed by employee Priya. Priya's employee number is 9. That employee number 9 is managing which department? Just check it out. 9 is managing science department. So here I do have a 2 tables. So how can I write? I wanted to select name of the departments. We can write D name. Name of the department there. Okay, here name of the department is D name. It is from which table? It is from both employee and managers table. Both employee comma managers table. Here we have to write a condition where what is a condition? Employee dot e number equals managers dot e number, and we have one more condition, and this should be for employee name Priyana and e name equal to Priya. Select. Now select this entire query and execute it, and it should give you output science. Look at science is displayed, means it is joining the 2 tables, employee and managers, and finding the output that department name managed by employee name Priya. This one you can write it. Okay, and tomorrow I'm going to continue my session with the rest of the queries. I will show you how we can write with aliases, how you can write with the natural join, with inner join, and all I will explain you. Along with that, I'm going to explain one more concept of outer join. Then we are going to discuss Infosys InfyTK questions that I do have a placement paper questions. We'll discuss that joints. Then we'll discuss what are the problems with the joints, how problems are resolved using the subqueries. That I'm going to continue in the tomorrow session. Thank you. Good day. See you tomorrow. Sharp 7 p.m. Okay. Thank you.